attorney, and once they start seeing these fines accumulate, they get back to us.
Excellent. Now, let me ask a question. I know that in certain neighborhoods in the city of Bridgeport, we tend to have what are called absentee landlords. Do you find that a lot of the places you're being called to happen to be addresses where we have exactly that, absentee landlords?
Absolutely, that's been a major issue. Under my leadership, the department has started a Help Fight Blight campaign, which is in essence a shame ad that we reached out to the city attorney's office and mayor's office in the city of Boston. They did a program that was similar to that. So we started doing that. We started getting a name of the absentee landlord, where they live, whether it's in Bridgeport, Trumbull, Easton, and we run an ad in the paper. We ran it in the Connecticut Post, New Haven Register. This is your property in Bridgeport. This is where you live at in Trumbull. You wouldn't want to have your house look like this in Trumbull or whatever town it may be. So that's one of the things that we started working on.
Well, I mean, I think that's a phenomenal tool to use. I mean, the fact of the matter is we live in a city, and when individuals don't take care of their properties, when those properties are in disrepair, but yet they're pulling out tax benefits, they're also getting rents on those properties and not doing the general maintenance, it really adds to the deterioration of the neighborhood. So I'm really glad that you're focused on making that happen and making sure that, you know, it's unfortunate that we would have to shame someone into taking care of their property, but the fact that you're doing that, that's important. What are some other tools that you're using to help do the work that you do?
Well, basically outreach. We're meeting with the neighborhood revitalization zones, we're meeting with the community councils, we're reaching out to anybody and everybody in the community to get us the information. A lot of the times, for example, based on our Shame Ad campaign, we put the information out there because we had trouble locating the owner. By getting that out there, the community, they knew somebody's cousin or aunt that knew where they were, and we'd get that information.
Excellent.
So we were able to basically smoke them out. We had one property owner who was a very well-known veterinarian in the state of Connecticut, and once he saw his thing in the paper, he called me up and said, "Hey, listen, what can I do to fix this?" And he immediately had contractors out there to clean his property, and it was a property that was a problem for a very long time.
Well, I'm glad to see that that's happening. Can you talk a little bit of how this process works out? I know that in certain instances, kind of the other side, not the absentee landlord, but an individual that does own a property, maybe a senior citizen, maybe someone who doesn't necessarily have the means to do all of the general maintenance and upkeep on it, and they're fined. How does one, I guess what I'm saying, what kind of an appeal process does the city have for individuals that might be kind of caught in a gray area?
We have an automatic appeal. Every time we find somebody, we send them an appeal information. Many times we get a call from the property owner, they're a senior, a veteran, whatever the case may be. We put them on the appeal information. We also have a community services arm through the police department that we work with, and we go through the process. We bring them through the hearing process. The hearing officer would look at that, appeal the fine. They would vacate the fine. However, now I keep a database of this person is a senior, this person is a veteran. So each spring, or as you know, any situation would arise, I would send our community services folks to cut the grass and take care of any little small maintenance that may happen on that property.
So that's interesting. So at certain times when you need to be maybe a little bit heavy-handed and get the job done, but yet there's also some flexibility in the program where you're also able to work with individuals. Because ultimately, I think that all it is about ensuring that the neighborhood is maintained, the blight is removed, and we don't see those eyesores.
Absolutely. And one thing with the communication with the neighborhood revitalization zones, they let us know this person is elderly, this person, you know, he just had surgery. So then now we know, we have them on our radar. We know if we get a call on that property, I get it over to our community services wing, and they help take care of those issues.
Excellent. I'm wondering, do you have any statistics of the work that I don't know if you maintain these records on a weekly, a monthly, bi-monthly basis. Could you talk about maybe a little bit of the statistics?
Well, a lot of, first of all, when I first took over the department in April, we had about...
Was that April 2000?
April 2012.
2012.
We had about 500 properties that were in some sort of blighted condition. So we've been able to at least cut that in half to the point where we've contacted the owner. The problem was that the owner wasn't being contacted, and they didn't know how serious we were. Once they knew how serious we were, it was the little issues, the tall grass, they might have left the TV on the corner. So we've been able to cut that down. Now we're focusing on, I'd say, about 100, 150 to 200 properties that are the worst of the worst. And we've actually started a joint inspections committee that it's all types of service agencies. You got city, our blight department, zoning, housing code, police, fire. We're all together, sit in a room. We have 150 properties, and we all attack them, and we get a lot of compliance that way.
Well, that's just amazing, the fact that you're able to make all of that happen and bring all of these groups together, because ultimately we're cleaning up the neighborhood. And I know from April 2012, it's going to be just about a year. So this is going to be a year of you
Yes.
being on the job.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, that's congratulations. I know that many constituents have remarked, I mean, because they see those fluorescent fine notices that you stick up on the doors, the posts, or anything that's out there that signifies that that house has been targeted and work is being done. Can you talk a little bit about these lots? Because one of the things that I've come across in certain instances in talking to constituents, a lot of constituents believe that those abandoned lots are city lots because they tend to have the wrought iron fencing that's put on. So it's almost like they're identifying that blight as being city blight. Can you talk a little bit about how true that may or may not be?
Absolutely, absolutely. When you see the decorative iron fencing, at one point it probably was city-owned. So what happened was they either went out to auction or whatever the case may be, or the budding property owner, they bought those lots. So what we started doing, we started taking an inventory with Public Works, with Economic Development. We literally drove through the whole city, said what's ours, what's not ours. And basically whatever was ours, we made sure that we cut that, we worked with Habitat for Humanity. We got about 18 lots over to them. So those are 18 less lots that they're dumping on. We've got foundations in, we've got houses already up, we've already had a couple of dedications. So we do have quite a few lots out there. Many of the city lots we're starting to get rid of them, and now we're enforcing those that are not city lots.
Well, Chris, phenomenal work, and I know that since you've been here at the city, at the department, you've been working really hard to deal with the issue of blight in the city of Bridgeport, and I commend you and the rest of the folks that are in your department for doing a great job, and keep it up. And I know that as we continue to go forward, that we're going to see a cleaner, greener Bridgeport, all due to the efforts of you and your department and the city of Bridgeport. So thank you so much for joining us on this segment, and we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.